மகிழ்வாகனதி எங்கள் பால சுற்றமானிருக்கா துணை நீ எனக்கு முருகா உறுதியை தந்திடுவாய் உள்ளமதை தூய்மையாக்கி முருகா உணர்வுரை புரிந்திடுவாய் சர்ச்சையெல்லாம் தீரும் அப்பா எங்கும் சாந்தி நிறையும் அப்பா உண்மையாக்கி எங்கள் உறுதியை தந்திடுவாய் கள்ளமதை போக்கிடுவாய் முருகா சாந்தி கொடுத்திடுவாய்.
Thank you, Deepadarshini. On behalf of new on behalf of AC, I'm extremely happy to welcome Dr. Nithya Madam, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Uttayamal College of Engineering, amidst us to address the students and sensitize and inspire the students on the prototyping, on the art of prototyping. Really, all of us will be inspired. All the students and those who are attending the meeting will be inspired to know about Dr. Nithya, and she is a very vibrant lady. She is on top of all, we can take, as a Sharadites, we can take the privilege of telling that she is our alumni, and for which all of us should be proud of. She has completed her UG and PG from our college, and she has completed her PhD from IIT Madras in the field of nanoscience, and she has good research experience. She is an expert in the field of NMR, green synthesis of nanoparticles, fuel cells, and she has a lot of very good publications to her credit, and she has attended so many seminars and conferences outside, and she has guided to almost 19 MPhil students, and currently she is guiding a MPhil student, and she has actually a very good research career that she has procured UGC minor research project, and she has completed the research project during the year 2019-20, and really personally I would just recollect the event when she gave a talk to our students on NMR. I was fascinated by her lecture, and still the lecture lingers in my mind. So I was actually telling the students that they have got a very excellent resource person today, and the students are ready to just interact and enjoy her session, and because of the classroom transition and other things. Audible. Hello. Yes, ma'am, it is visible. It is taking a little bit of time in the another device. In this device, it is visible.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, now it is visible.
So good morning, students. So it's very nice to meet you all. So as ma'am told, my topic is prototype process design and development. So this process design and development, I am going to take it as an example from a lecture where I attended. Okay, so this is not my own product. So just to help you understand what does this prototyping and process design means. So for that, I have taken an example which from a lecture which I attended. Fine. Okay, so before going into the topic and all this stuff, so let's do activity. Okay, if you have already done this activity, it's no problem. whoever is very new to this can answer. So can you guess the object? Hello,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
it will take some. Ma'am, it will
Fine,
take some time, I think.
Okay.
Yes. Now we can see your slide, namely prototype, process, design, and development only.
Can you then? Can I then go to the normal mode instead of the full screen?
Yes, ma'am. It is actually normal mode only, ma'am. We
Oh,
can't see the full screen mode.
change to.
Ma'am, actually, when you can share the document like. Now we can see the activity, ma'am. Now we can see the activity.
Can you guess the object, students?
Ma'am, can you hear what they say, ma'am? They are saying that it's a scale, measuring
Yeah,
scale.
scale is right. Okay, the next one. Any guesses?
Stapler. They say it's stapler.
Yes, it's a stapler. Yes, right, ma'am. This one, I think it's easy for them. Okay.
They say it is a scissor, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a scissor, right. Next one. Okay, I think it's a little bit difficult to guess. So it's a notebook.
Notepad. They were telling it's a notepad, ma'am.
Notepad. Let's notebook. Okay.
It's a notebook. Okay.
Okay. I think. Yeah, one more. The last one.
They say it is an eraser.
It's not an eraser. It's a paper clip.
Paper clip.
Okay, so can you guess this one? Okay, it's
What
a
is
little
it?
bit.
Calculator. They say it is a calculator, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a calculator. It's a calculator. Okay, fine. So now, can we go to the topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So we'll start with just a few definitions of what is a prototype and process design and all. So, ma'am, are they students like they are the first year students or they have already attended sessions or?
PG students and third years are here, ma'am.
Okay, so third years means they might have
First
attended.
year. Yes, ma'am, but it's the basic is needed, ma'am, because all
Okay,
the students don't get the exposure.
Sure. Okay. So now, why we are talking about all this prototyping and process designing is that, so in your college you have IISc, okay? So IIC. So what is the need of the hour of today is innovation. Okay, so even to present your answer paper, you need it to be an innovative one. Okay, so you might be doing all those stuff. So like you write it in different colored pen instead of the routine blue or the black one. So for heading you may give another color, and the main points, or if you want to highlight any single point or a sentence, then you may write it in a different color. Okay, so that itself is an example of an innovation. So how do you present? So that will be different. Your paper will be different from the other students. Okay, so right from there the innovation starts, and you might have heard or you might have gone through many articles where they talk about innovation nowadays. Okay, so it is the very need of the hour. So what does this innovation do you have to just use your mind. That's it. Okay. So to solve a problem, so to come out with a solution, to come out for a solution for a problem, you have to think innovatively. Okay? Or if you want to design a product, okay, so you have to think it in an innovative way. So this innovation, if you have to, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. நீங்க full screen mode தான் வச்சிருக்கீங்களா மேம்?
இல்ல மேம், full screen mode ல வைக்கல. full screen mode ல வச்சிடவா?
எஸ் மேம். ஸ்டூடண்ட்ஸ்க்கு தெரியலன்றாங்க.
இப்போ மாத்திருக்கேன், சொல்லுங்க. Ma'am, is it visible in the full screen mode?
Not yet, ma'am. I think it will take few seconds, ma'am.
Okay, fine. I'll wait.
வரலாம். அத ஜூம் பண்ண முடியுமாப்பா? அத ஜூம் பண்ணணும்.
Ma'am. Is it visible now, ma'am?
Hello, Nitya ma'am.
Ma'am, சொல்லுங்க. Hello.
Ma'am, you have to change increases of in bottom of percentage.
Okay,
In
okay.
Screen.
One second.
Bottom of screen.
Is it okay now? Ma'am, is it okay? I've increased it.
இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் என்னாச்சு மேம் வாய்ஸ் கட் ஆயிடுச்சு
இல்ல hello.
ma'am we can hear you.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes ma'am, it is perfectly visible.
Okay, ma'am. So shall I continue?
Yes ma'am.
Okay. So students, so innovation is a need of the hour. So as I've already told, so it also makes you, you can become either a startup or an entrepreneur. Okay. So, so you're going to give, you're becoming a startup or an entrepreneur is the second thing, but the first one is you're going to give a solution to an existing problem. Okay, so a problem in the sense it's not like a chemistry problem which you will be doing or you are doing in your class. So this is a life problem. Okay, so it can be like you're going to solve certain problems, like we are in a place where even being a chemist we feel it little bit bad. So you know the area in and around Erode, okay, and Tirupur. So what is a major problem there is the effluent which is coming out of dye, okay, or dyeing unit. Okay, so that is causing a major problem for the river sources in and around Erode or Salem and all. Okay, so you can come out. So there are many solutions to this problem, but still it has not been eradicated. Okay, so you can come up with a different solution which is totally different from what has been suggested now, or you can give a solution to tackle this effluent flow into rivers. Okay, so anything of that sort can be is really welcome. Okay, so I think you can think in this line. Being a chemist, so we know how a dye is produced and we know how a dye cannot be disintegrated. Okay, until otherwise we use some drastic steps. Okay, so so this is an example of a real life solution where you have to find out a real life problem where you have to find out a solution for this problem. Okay, so this prototype and process design comes in the later part of your innovation. So innovation actually starts with defining a problem, okay, and finding out a solution for that problem. So you are going to give a solution for a problem, and that solution is in the it's going to be, it's not a like a software problem, it's a hardware problem. So you are going to give solution for a hardware problem, like you are going to develop a product. Fine. So that product you cannot directly go in and do it, or you can make a model and you can run it. Okay, so before doing all those things, so as in our chemistry lab nowadays, as you all know, computers plays a major role in determining whether a reaction can occur or not. So we need not go directly into the wet lab and do a chemical synthesis and then find out that it will not give a product. Okay, instead we can get the help of a computer. So what does a computer do? So you can plug in all the values and see whether a product can be formed from the reactants and the reagents what we are using. In a similar way, prototyping is instead of going into the direct product, so is it possible to develop a model for it? Okay, a miniature model kind of thing which can work, or which can work according to the solution what we have thought. Okay, so that is the stage of this prototyping and process design. So you might have been a little bit exposed to this innovation, ideation and all those stuff. So ideation is actually the first step. So next of ideation is this prototyping, or even little bit later stage, or other one stage is like you have to think about a solution and then you have to think about the product. Fine. So prototyping is an early sample, as I've already told. So this is like a real sample which is going to work according to your thought. Okay, or is a model. So you all know a model, what is a model means, or a release of a product built to test a concept or a process. So it's a literal definition. So you can see the difference between a blueprint and a prototype. So earlier, blueprint was very useful. So even for building or constructing homes, there might be engineers, civil engineers, who used to sit and draw the blueprint. Okay, so it takes hours. But nowadays it has been all computer controlled, so you can go and get the help of a computer. So you can have all, I mean, all the softwares are available to go for the blueprint. So blueprint is near a diagram, diagrammatic representation. Okay, and then a prototype is actually the one which we are going to take it and make it run. Okay, so that is a prototype. And the process design, so this actually is what is, so now you have to say, imagine you have to design a car like this. So instead of going into the full car, so first you start with the wheels and then assembling of the wheels and the engine, okay, seats and all those things. So you're going to break it into smaller type, and then you have to check it out. You have to assemble all those smaller bits into bigger one. Okay, so that is the process design. So now, before going into prototyping and all, now we have to know what is a problem. So this is a basic definition. A problem is, it can be a situation, it can be a person. Of course, we don't worry about a person nowadays, or a thing. It's a situation or a thing that needs attention. Okay, so person is, you have to cure it with the interpersonal skills. So situation or a thing which needs attention and which needs to be dealt with or solved. So you have to solve a problem. Solve a you have to solve that problem. Now, what is this problem solving approach? So you all know, if there is a problem, of course there will be a solution. Only thing, we have to find out the solution for the problem. Okay, so that is an art. So very simple problem is, something is catching fire. So what you do immediately, you go in for the solution, like use water. Okay, in chemistry lab we cannot use water for all the fires, so you have the fire extinguishers to be used. So that is one example for a solution. So now, uh, like how this problem, where do I get a problem? So you might be having a problem in your own life, not like clearing the paper or clearing the competitive exam. So this problem is slightly different. So you have to think where this problem lies, and you have to ask many questions. So this one is so common. So you have to ask questions. So where is a problem and why is a problem? Who is the reason for that problem? Or what can be the solution? Okay, so these many questions you have to answer. So now this design process, as given here, it involves 6 steps to 7 steps. So these and all taken from management side. Okay, so you have to the first step, as this is step number 1. I hope you're able to see the cursor. So define the problem.
Ma'am, we cannot see the plate is in what is prototype only, ma'am.
Oh my god, so is it visible now? Just take a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Now we can see. Now we can see.
Okay. This involves like a few steps. So the design process or the process design or the prototyping one, it involves few steps. So first step is define the problem. Okay, so you have to find out first the problem, and then you have to clear cut define it in your mind, or you can have it as a group, sit in a group, try to define a problem. So what exact problem is you're going to give the solution for. Okay, and then collect the information. Collect the information. So what you're going to do is, you are going to collect information regarding what is the cause of the problem, or what can be the possible solution if it is available in the first place, and if there are other solutions, what are all the pros and cons of that solution, which you can make it, and you can refine it, and you can take it to the next new level. Okay, so that kind of information. Then who are all the end users of that solution? Okay, so if a problem is there, who is going to make use of that? So is it a group of people, or is it for everyone, or is it only for like collective people? Like it can be students, it can be teachers, or it can be a society as a whole. In the society you can have n number of variety of groups. Okay, so these kind of information you have to collect it. Okay, and then brainstorm and analyze ideas. So brainstorming, analyzing, it's like you have to get into the field. So if you have problem with the students, it's not with only chemistry students, you have to go and collect information from all other major. Okay, and you cannot restrict it to your own college. You have to go out to, you have to reach the other colleges. So what is your college and how your college is different from the other colleges? So you being an aided college, so what will be the problems of a self-financing colleges? So what will be the problems of a government college? Okay, it's purely it doesn't come under aided, but still it's a government college. So and you being a female student, so what will be the problem for a male student? Okay, so that kind of brainstorming sessions you have to, and you have to go and you have to analyze the idea. Okay, so then you have to develop a solution. Okay, so solution, as it can be a real solution, or you have to have a model for that. So you are going to give a product for that as a solution. So what kind of model it has to be? So these kind of things you have to go for. So that is the developing stage of the uh, process design. And then present your ideas to others for feedback. And this is very, very important. So getting feedback from your own end users is very important. So as I've told, it doesn't, if you, it is like for the group of people. So like say for students, you're going to come out with some solution for a problem of a student. So as I've told, you should not restrict to your own college. You have to go to outside college. You have to get many groups of students. Okay, so get the feedback first. You just give them a sample copy. So okay, usually this happens like they will give a sample copy. So they will ask you to go through it. Say suppose if it is a book, so you're going to write a book on IC, okay, on innovation. So give a sample copy and see whether that copy is very good, or it has to be points has to be improved, or pictures has to be taken in. So these kind of feedbacks you have to really get, and then improve your design. Okay, every product has to have an improvement in the design. Okay, so where and all this design fails, that you have to check it out. So this, it doesn't take in it, today you're going to sit with an idea and tomorrow you're going to coming up with a product, and the day after tomorrow you're going to sell it in the market. That's not a possible one. It may happen, or it may take some 6 months, it may take 1 year, and this process has to be going on. Okay, so once you have released the product, you cannot sit and okay fine, I have done with it, so I'm going to relax, that's it, over. So that will become the end of your product designing. So you have to keep on improving. Okay, so like from so if you take for students, you are writing, so you can write it with pencil, you can write it with pen. And pen, you can have two different types of pen. One is the ink pen, and another one is the other usual pens which you are using. Okay, in that, so earlier it was only blue and black, so now you have all types of colors and with varying intensities. And also now you have pens which are glitter, which has a glittering ink. Okay, so sketch, crayons, and then you have paints and all those stuff. So these are all the improvements which has been done in pen. Okay, so then a pen, it is not a pen alone. So earlier you had only one refill, so you can go in for like 3 to 5 refills. So you have 5 different colors in one pen, so you can select a color at a time and you can use it. Okay, so these are all the product improvements which has been done in just a simple pen. Okay, so this is again a model. So we'll go into each and every step. Is it visible? I am in step 1, define the problem.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So this stage or this step involves brainstorming. As I've already told, brainstorming session. So first you sit and analyze what is the problem. You fix its context, you take its background, and you take the symptoms. Okay, whichever is applicable, you take those things. Okay. Then you can go in for an interview session. So you just go have a chit chat with few people. So what kind of like say you say this is a problem, like how you face it. Okay, so these this kind of probleming part or questioning part you might have. I hope, I don't know whether students have seen that, but for our teachers we had all this, like what is the pros and cons of going in for online teaching during the COVID time. Okay, so we had many questionnaires, so people were researching on the online teaching methodology. How is it useful? Whether it is whether we can take it further. Okay, so those kind of things. So those kind of questionnaire. So you can give like 10 questions or 15 questions. So you have to frame the questions in such a way it is clearly defining the problem. Okay, so then you can go in, you collect the information, you try to assemble all those information. Okay, so this is the first step. So you have to first define the problem. So you have to diagnose a problem. So you have to sit on the problem, and then you have to completely uh, work on it. Okay, so you have to really fix the context, its background, and symptoms. Okay, so that's with the step one. This is step two. So in step two, you have to find out the root cause of the problem. So you cannot directly give a solution for a problem. So you have to go in for the root cause. Only if you go in for the root cause, you will get the real solution. Okay, so that will really help you to come up with the best solution, not only the real solution, it will help you to come up with the best solution. So determine the root cause of the problem, so that is really needed. So finding out the root cause, or you can go in for many diagrams. So these are all the few examples of the diagrams, like fishbone, Pareto analysis, affinity diagram. So these are all the techniques which help you to find out the root cause. So these and all, whether it is really needed, those kind of questions you can ask. But these and all the rules which or the methodology which has been set, so you can make use of this, or if you can bring out the diagrams of the way, whichever way you want it. Okay, so it need not be like it really has to be a fishbone diagram. No, it is not like that. Okay, fishbone diagram is really not needed, but you have to find out the root cause of the problem. Fine, so that is important. Then, so after finding out the problem, after finding out the root cause of the problem, you are going to come out with a solution. Okay, so don't always give only one solution nowadays, because it is, as you all know, what is a failure for a Nokia phone or the failure for nano car. So you have to come up with a good solution, which, if suppose plan A fails, you have to go for the plan B. So if solution A fails, you have to go for solution B. And sometimes a problem needs to have a hybrid of all two or three solutions. Okay, so you cannot always sit with one solution. So you have to develop alternative solutions, and make sure that your solution is in a you have to refine it at the later part. Okay, so you cannot keep on with one solution, you cannot continue like for even a year. By the time your prototype comes, the solution may require another alternative, or it has to be upgraded. Okay, so that kind of situations will be there. So it depends upon what kind of problem you're going to choose. Okay, so make sure that you develop alternative solutions. So that is step 3. Now, step 4, you select a solution, obviously. So you have to have a solution in such a way that it is very good for the user. Okay, or it's a best fit for the user. And you have to also judge the feasibility. So how long that solution can work, and if in future, if the solution has to be modified, what can be the possible modifications, or any other you have to take in, or you have to bring in. So you have to change the prototype, or you have to change in the design or the working principle, whatever it is. So you have to select a solution in such a way that it caters to the needs of all the people. Okay, so say suppose if you are bringing out a solution for a student, so it can be applicable for a general public also. So in future, your solution should be in such a way that it has to meet the needs of the general public. Okay, so because everyone is in the process of studying, and everyone is in the process of I mean, like, they can read and write. Those who and all can read and write, that kind of a solution you have to come up with. So this is the feasibility part which you have to take into consideration, whether it can be implemented within an acceptable time frame. So you cannot keep on working on the prototyping like for years together. Okay, so at the most an year or two, you have to come up with a prototyping or the product. Okay, and of course it has to be cost effective, reliable, and realistic. Okay, so it has cost effective, so you all know, so it has to reach to the end user. So not all are affordable, so it has to be at least in the affordable cost. And reliable, of course, you all know what is it. And then will make resource usage more effective. So you have to make the resources also more in an effective way, and it adapt to conditions as they evolve and change. So this was not possible. This evolving and changing when the other upgraded version of the phones came into existence. Okay, so this is very important. So you have to make it adapt for the evolution or for the change. Okay, and then its risks are manageable. So if you have a risk, is it manageable? So you have to think all these feasibilities. Then will benefit the organization. Okay, so which will benefit the organization? Which solution? Either solution A or B, or a hybrid of solution A and B. So you have to be very clear in all those things. So you are developing a product, so it has to be useful to you also. So that kind of a mentality or the feasibility you have to check in for getting out the product. And then implementation of the solution. The next step is implementation. So how you're going to market it. Okay, so that is also very important. So if you're sitting it as a team, so all the team members has to agree to it, and then you have to prepare a plan, and then you have to set out the action, like when this will be released, and who and all, so who will be the first target person for the product. All those things you have to keep in mind. Okay, so you have to set a plan. So that is very important. And when it is out, when the product is out, it has to go for evaluation. So evaluation step, you can also do it in the prototyping model also. And then once the product is released, you can go in for the evaluation. So you can go in, like go in for the feedback form, or you can collect the you can give them the link, and then ask them to get to you if they have any difficulties in working in the product. Those things you have to evaluate. So this you have to do it in all stages. Okay, so evaluating the outcome, say suppose you are targeting a people, so if you have to tell your solutions if it is okay with it, and then give them the sample copy and ask them to get it. And after getting it, like after 6 months or after 1 year, you can get the feedback or evaluate and see whether the product is in the good condition, or it has to be refined, it has to be upgraded or updated. Whatever it is, you have to have a continuous evaluation. So this process is also very important. Okay, so these are the various steps. I hope you got these steps. Okay, so as I've already told, there is no hard and fast rules. So you have to follow all these steps. But if you follow all these steps, you will not have any setback. Okay, so you can easily release your product, or you can easily release your solution for the problem. And everyone is eager enough to take up a solution for a problem. Okay, so this is also steps. So this will again involve what I have already discussed. So first one, for a prototyping, you have to keep the user in mind. So if you're developing a product, as I've already told, if you're going to develop a different pen, so you have to, at the end, the user has to make use of it. Okay, so you can be the user, or if you're designing, you may not be the user, so you have to keep the user in mind. Then plan the scope of testing. So that this is also very important. So you have to test it. So you have to plan the scope of testing, take action, and fail fast. Okay, so don't go in for the end stage. So as and when the prototype is ready, go in for the testing, go in for the action plan. And if you want to, if you find out the failure, correct it at the earlier stage, not at the product development. Product, once it is out, you have to wait for another year also. Okay, so before the product is out, even in the prototyping, you have to make it fast and see if you have any failure, try to correct the failures in the early stage itself. Then choose the right tools and fidelity. Of course, you have to make sure that you're choosing the right one, and not you're after making it into a product, you cannot go in. You're ready to ask questions. Okay, though after the product has been released, you cannot go in for questioning session. Okay, so these are the steps. Okay, fine. So with this, I have completed what are all the different stages of prototyping or process designing. Okay, so now we'll have an activity and then we'll go for the a real life example, okay, where I have taken it from a lecture. So now what you're going to do is you have to guess this one. Oh, I think the answer is there. Can you guess this one? I hope the answer has been seen.
New York. They say New York, ma'am.
Yeah, it's right, New York. What about this one?
South Korea.
Yeah. Okay. I think the answer has been displayed there, right?
Philippines. They say it
Yeah.
is Philippines.
Yes, yes, yes. The next one.
Taj Mahal.
Okay. Ma'am. Um, Sorry, I think the question is skip this one. Okay. Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now how to go in for this prototyping? So once you have an idea and once you have you are in a process of like designing a prototype. Okay, so how to go about with this? So this example is being given by Professor Diman Panchal. So he is from Pune. So he has designed a model for this problem. Okay, so now what is the problem is, so in India's constructions are going on round the year, and like even if one building is over, the next one starts and so on. So the problem is the workers, construction workers, they have to carry bricks to the site. Okay, so the bricks will be arranged in one area, and like hardly they have to go for like at least 20 to 50 meters. They have to walk, or they have to go upstairs for the uh, building to be raised. Okay, so now what are all the what is the problem, exact problem, like is it easy for a person to carry this much of load on their head? Then if they carry over a period of time, what difficulties they face? So what is the difficulties, like they have any health issues, so what kind of health issues they have, and then is it possible for them to overcome the health issues if a product has been designed? So these kind of questions have to be answered. Okay, so what is the problem background? You have to find out an alternative for this one. So you can see a woman who is carrying like roughly like 30 bricks over her head. So what kind of a solution we can give for this problem? Okay, single usage, and then it has to rest on the head. Okay, now what happens if you do such kind of work as a period of time? So construction, like say it carries out like so 8 months or so, and the workers don't stop with one single building, they go in for the next one. So like round the year, uh, almost for all 365 days, or like hardly like 360 days, or even 350 days we can say, they have to do this work. So what happens as they do it? So this process is first and foremost very slow. Okay, so you have to have a more manpower, and then they have to be efficient enough to carry such load on their head. So they have to walk on a not on a smooth surface. So you can see, you can imagine a construction site, so it will not be smooth, you'll be having a sand, you'll be having stones. Okay, so on that kind of terrain they have to walk, and then they have to carry it on their head, and if needed they have to go to either the third floor, fourth floor, or fifth floor, and now it's like 20 floors is just like that, it has become a common sight. Okay, so even though in 20 floors there are lifts available, but once again, like it may be needed that a person has to carry it. Okay, at least like not full 20 floors or 19 floors, at least some first floor, second floor, and from then another person will carry to another 2 floors, and from there another person will carry to another 2 floors. So anyhow they have to carry it, they have to walk on a step. and all the load is being concentrated on the neck. Okay, so how do they carry? So they have to maintain the posture. So because why they have to maintain the posture, they have to carry it straight so that they are not in a position to drop it down. Okay, so if they carry it, so that load, you can imagine like a brick is roughly of 2.5 kgs. One single brick is of 2.5 kgs, and if you have to have carry 30 such bricks, so you can imagine the weight. So that is the biggest problem they have. Okay, and of course, as I've already told, they have to walk on a rough and uneven terrain, or they have to climb the stairs with carrying their bricks on the head. So that is a main problem. So as I've already told, roughly not 30 bricks, it's 16 bricks they have to carry. So it comes around 40 kgs. And how many hours they have to carry this work? 8 hours a day. Okay, so for one day they have to at least work for 8 hours, or even if not 8, at least for 6 to 7 hours they have to work. So accordingly, the duration increases for a year. Okay, and it doesn't stop. So one building it may take a year or 1.5, and they may go for the next one. Okay, so now he has employed his student to do this work. So how far he is able to carry? Is it possible for a single person or for a new person to do this job? Okay, so what and all the hurdles they have faced in doing so. So this person is a student of Professor Dimant Panchal. So what he is the one who is going to design the solution for the problem. So he tried to carry. So he couldn't carry more than 8 bricks. So they are supposed to carry 16 to 20 bricks. So he was not able to carry, and he couldn't he couldn't load the bricks by himself. So he need a person. So he couldn't carry more than 8 bricks, and then he couldn't walk. Okay, because it's very new to him. So he couldn't walk even that required meters. Okay, and imagine him carrying it in the stairs. Okay, so it's not that easy. You cannot go and do this job. So you need to have some experience in doing this job. Of course, they might have also faced all these problems in their initial stages. Okay, it is not like they have gone to do this work. They might have also faced all these problems. They might have carried a lesser load, and they might have dropped the bricks in the process of carrying it also. Okay, so he also has done that. He has dropped the bricks. So it is not possible. So it needs time. So with time, you can do it. Okay. So these were the kind of analysis report which you have to do in defining the problem, defining the solution for a problem. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to found out what kind of solution you're going to give for the problem. Okay, for the construction workers, you're going to help them to carry the brick without damaging the brick. Okay, so these are the kind of questionnaires or brainstorming sessions what we have discussed. So like what was the age of the workers? On an average, the age was 25 to 35 years. Okay, so in these years, the daily wages or the construction workers are there. And then female were the majority in this kind of work. And then how many years they spent in this occupation? So it also comes around roughly 1 to 6 years. So that is the average of 1 to 6 years. And then at what age they started this occupation? So majority or the average was at 18 to 25 years. So that is a period of people going for people starting their work. Okay, so or starting their job. So roughly like after that 12th, and some even do it before that 12th. So like 15, somewhere 15 to 25. Now what do they transport? So we have tiles. Okay, any of these it can be. Then like roughly how much load they carry. So it comes around 20 to 35 kgs. And then so the next part is, do they experience any pain? So these kind of analysis you have to do in finding out a solution to a problem. Okay, so what kind of pain they experience and what part of the body do they really experience a pain, and where and all the pain is there. So they do experience pain. Okay, and then where do they experience such pain? So you can see in head and lower back, in hand, and then wrist, shoulders. Okay, so these areas. So lower back and head comes up, okay, as a majority one, even to some extent shoulder. Okay, so you can see this blue and then the red and the bluish gray. So this part is majority. Okay, so these kind of analysis you people also have to make. Now, do they experience less sleep due to such pain? It's like yes and no. So they do go in for many ways to induce sleep. Then how many hours do they sleep? Of course, they need sleep, so they sleep 8 to 10 hours on an average. Then did they face any problem when they were in the learner? Of course, everyone, as I've told, it's not an easy job, so you cannot go and just carry it. So they might have also faced all these problems. They do face all these problems. And what problem did they face is, of course, like whole body pain, and they couldn't carry. They could carry only less load. Okay, so these are all the things they have also faced. Now, what happens as a result of this continuous working, of continuous carrying a load over your head? So, work-related neck and upper limb disorder, that is called as WORLD. So, this has been developed for construction workers. Okay, so they'll be having mainly in lower back, in knees, as well as in shoulders. Okay. So you have all these terminologies, which I'll skip all this one. So you can imagine what kind of pain they'll be having in these areas. Okay. Fine. So how do these disorders occur? So we all know, like for a period of time, they are carrying this and they are working it for around the year. So all this will happen. So they may not be experiencing all these problems in the early stages of their life. So when they reach 30 or 40, they will experience all these problems that arises as a result of them being the construction worker. Okay, and fine, so this will lead to many injuries. So your neck will have a problem, your back will have problem, your fingers will have problem, your muscles also will be having problem. So these are all the risk factors which is involved. Now, so you have defined the problem. So what is a specific problem statement is? So you have to come out with a solution which can transport brick, for example, which weighs at least like 30 kg over a distance of roughly 25 to 100 meters on a rough terrain. So this is your statement, problem statement. So you have analyzed the problem, you have gone in on your own, you have experienced what kind of problems will be there, and of course you have also found out the risk factors involved in construction workers. Okay, so now you have to define your problem. So as already told, the first step is defining a problem. Right? Then what else you have to do? So guidelines for the problem. Okay, so how to, or guidelines for the solution. How will you come up with a product which can meet all these one? So first one, like it has to carry 30 kgs of load, and then it has to work on a rough terrain. Okay, and it has to reduce the repetition of certain tasks like loading, unloading part. You have to be careful in that. And then it should reduce the level of force. So on the solution which you are giving should not increase the force. Okay, so you have to make sure that. And then of course the process of loading and unloading should be much easier in comparison to the manually doing part. Okay, and then the brick should not break. So that is also, so these are all the design guidelines. So you have to keep all this in your mind. Okay, or you take it in a paper, write it down, make it as like a regular basis. Okay, you may forget certain things, So what you have to do is you have to have a notice board kind of thing. So you have to pin all these papers. So you have to keep on reminding. So when designing a product, you should not forget all these design problems, okay, or guidelines. So you have to have a guideline for the design. So they came up with many concepts. So I will skip all the concept. I will just give you the pictures part alone. Okay, so this was the first one, initial part. Then this was another concept. This was another one. So like this, they have ended up with 8 concepts, and they have listed all the pros and cons of all these concepts. Okay. So this is, once again, it was not done by me. I'm taking this example from a lecture which I attended. Fine. So this was very useful to uh, communicate easily with students. Okay, so that you can understand the problem, you can go in for the defined problem statement, and you can go in for the prototyping model. Okay, so all these are computer controlled mocks up which they have designed, and then they came up with a prototype, and this they also further refined it. Okay, so they ended up with, I hope you're able to see, am I going so fast? Fine. Okay, so now this was the final model which they came up for the construction workers. Okay, this can also carry bricks, sand, tiles, or all those stuff. Okay. So they were able to load in 36 bricks. Fine. So all this was done using computer. So this is a prototyping one. Fine. So with this, my part of prototyping is over. Fine. So it's in your hands to first come up with a solution. Okay. So once you are with first you have to identify your problem. So you might have been exposed with all the problem. Check, sit around, discuss with your group, try to find out the problem and try to come up with a solution. Okay. So evaluate the problem, gather information, break the problems into parts, identify solutions, select the best solution. Of course, then you have to go in for the action, examine result, test and feedback. Okay. So these are also, once again, all these methodologies are available over net. Okay, it's nothing new. Fine. So next we'll end up with some activity. Can you guess the month?
Ma'am, they say it is March.
Yes, ma'am, it's right, ma'am. And what about this day? Yesterday?
Monday.
No, ma'am.
Mondayன்னு சொல்றாங்க, ஃப்ரைடேன்னு சொல்றாங்க.
ஃப்ரைடே கரெக்ட், பட் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒன்னு இருக்கே. What is the color?
Friday.
No, it's Black Friday.
Black Friday.
And of course, it's very easy to find out the month.
February. February.
Yeah, true. And what about this one?
Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday.
Yes, it is Easter Sunday. Okay, so can them guess a country from this place?
They say it is US.
Yeah, it's US. Yes.
Correct.
What about this one?
Australia.
Australia. It's an opera house at Sydney. And what about this one? It's quite a rare one.
Indonesia, they say it is Indonesia.
It's yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's in Indonesia. And this is Mount Kilimanjaro. Just they have to tell the place.
It's Ethiopia, they say.
No, ma'am. It's not in Ethiopia. It's in Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Okay. So I hope. Okay. One more is there.
France, they say, ma'am.
No, ma'am. It's not in France. It's Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
It's Czech Republic. Okay, I think they will be very much interested in this. They have to select the correct one.
Fourth one, they say.
No, it's not the fourth one. I guess it's the third one.
The third one.
Because I mean the last one, the F is seem to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this and it's the first and the fourth is almost similar.
One and four. First.
Yeah, first turn is the right one. First turn is the right one. Okay, so now I mean this is just a activity which you have to do it. So you can. This is just a very simple, innovative product you can think of using a pen. You take your time and then you can discuss with your ma'am and you can come up with many solutions. So just try to find out many solutions for chemistry students. Okay. So being a chemist, so we all be happy. Like if you come up with a solution for that dyeing units. Okay. So many dyeing units have been closed, and many people who are working in the dyeing units, they have been jobless. So you have to find out a solution. Either the person should not be greedy enough to send effluent outside, or you have to come up with a very good solution. Okay? So that will be the best part of you to think about a solution for a chemistry related problem. Okay, so we will restrict our solution finding for a chemistry related problem. Okay, so I hope this was useful to you. If you found certain things, jargons and all the language and all, of course, if you just go in for 2 or 3 sessions with your ma'am, so that will be helpful for you. Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Really, thank you so much, ma'am.
okay.
It was a great session.
Sure.
There is no doubt that all the students have thoroughly enjoyed the session, ma'am. The formal vote of thanks on behalf of IC. We thank the management for permitting us to have vibrant activities throughout the year, and we also thank our Madam Principal, who is the president of IC, for enabling us through this journey. And I sincerely thank today's speaker, Dr. N. Nithya Madam, Assistant Professor and Innovation Ambassador of Mutayamal College of Arts and Science, for her very, very excellent sensitizing talk, like how she has taken us through the basics of what is prototyping, designing, and she has given quite a lot of activities, and you have also given a like how the students have to approach the prototyping. I was actually side by side, I was just asking them to just think over, ma'am, like how you took the journey. It was really very nice, very informative, and our students are immensely benefited out of this lecture, ma'am. Thank you for enabling us in this, in conducting this IAC driven activity. Thank you so much, ma'am. And we really enjoyed your expertise and your empathy and the way in which you were committed as a chemist in making the environment dye free. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can we have your video, ma'am, for the snap?
Yeah, yes, sure.
Yes. Ma'am, can you put the previous slide, ma'am? So we'll just take a screenshot.
Okay. I mean, is it visible to you?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
This one or the previous slide?
Yeah, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you so much. From the bottom of the heart, I'm thanking you for your excellent lecture. As usual, you have made it a very nice one. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I also thank you, ma'am, and the management and our management, and especially Dr. N. Sudha for making me a part of this
Yes.
innovation ambassador. So thank you all. So thank you, students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Tomorrow we are having Sudha ma'am's lecture.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall I
Bye.
leave, ma'am? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
நாளைக்கு இதே மீட்டிங் தான் இதே மேம் உங்க ஸ்பீக்கர் எடுத்துட்டு